Hi, and welcome to Dogman Teepee Hunting. And if you're, where am I going? If you're listening to this, it'll be on the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. Today, I've got a guest on who is not normal guest from the point of view of he's a naturalist, and he's also a survivalist. And between you and me, he's a tracker. Now, what he does is he uh, has found an awful lot. He tracks cryptids, and has found an awful lot of evidence of these cryptids. So, I'd like to introduce Steve to you. He's from the States, and it's good enough to come on, and I do appreciate that. So, I should bring him on. Julie, hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm good, Phil. Thanks for having me on. I'm
Oh, you're
really
more than welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate that. Um, you know, uh, it's been quite busy over there on the cryptid front with what you do, looking for Dogman and for evidence.
well. Check this out, Phil. First, thank you for having me. I just want to tell you that from the bottom of my heart. And I just want to let you know I have been to Great Britain, man. And I went to London, and I went to Leeds, and I
No
wound up in
way.
Scotland. I was in Glasgow, and you know,
No, did you?
one
What did you
one
think?
of the funnest trips I ever took in my life. I was back in that day.
Oh man, what did you think of London?
Oh, you know,
You can be
well,
honest
I
because we
loved
all.
the underground, the subways going here and there, and the friendliest people everywhere I went. Everybody treated me really nice, and met interesting people everywhere I went, all up and down the United Kingdom, all the way into Scotland and back down. Had a really fun time in Leeds, and
Oh yeah.
played a lot of snooker, and played a lot of, I'm pretty good at pool, and I'm even pretty good at darts. So, I was giving you guys a run for your
Oh
money over there.
cool. Wow.
But
Oh man.
yeah,
Wow,
that was,
if only I knew you then, I could have taken you to some really, really like kind of like dark, dingy, horrible places. Honestly, you like the underbelly of London, you
well,
know? Yeah,
maybe that's something that we're gonna possibly do in the future, right? Because
yeah,
I
yeah, for
believe in
sure.
connections of phenomena, and here you are, you're talking to me. I'm over here in California, and
Yeah.
talking about cryptids. But before I talk about the cryptids, I just want to let you all know that I'm a science teacher, a naturalist. Like a
Okay.
naturalist here in California and in the United States is somebody who learns about nature and just about everything about nature as much as I possibly can, so that I
Yeah.
could relay the information to constituents and clientele that hike with me. But I'm semi-retired now. This incident actually, uh, I was unable to work for a couple of years after this, so it
Okay.
kind of altered my life quite a bit. But now I'm going on the fourth year of this. I'm feeling a lot better now.
Mm.
But
I
in the
spent some.
beginning,
I so because I remember traveling to. I went to San Francisco,
oh,
and
all
that
right.
was cool. There was a tram museum we went to. And it's kind of all these trams up in the air, all suspended up, and that was like crazy. And the hills are crazy as well, obviously, in San Francisco. But I had a lot of reports from around that way as well, of people spotting stuff. Can I ask? Can I? How did you get into it? First of all, how did this interest start for you?
Okay, now uh, in my heritage, we have Native American blood in us. My family has Yaqui, who are known as the Yaqui Nation, and and so going out in nature was just something natural for me. I actually needed to be out there, so I go hiking as a young kid. My brothers would take me. We lived close enough to the creek, go right up the hills, and as soon as I learned how to do that as a young kid, that's what I was doing. And I didn't come across anything cryptid up in the hills where I was at. There's all kinds of great animals to see. There's newts and frogs in the creek. There's owls in the trees. There's hawks. There's roving hills, edible foods of the forest. Some of my relatives knew a lot about the edible foods of the forest, and a lot of that information was passed on to me. And just biology, science, heritage, I just couldn't get enough of nature. So I kept going out, and I was an athlete at one time in my life. So even training for, here we have baseball. I know over there you guys have rounders, but here, I was a serious player at one time, and I was running up in the hills. Check this out: getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 days a week, running 5 miles in the morning, and then getting to school. So you get up that early, you see things, and just the vibration, man, and just I'm up and running in the hills and just full of energy and life. And I found out that to me was life, and I just was doing everything I possibly can to find a career, anything to be outside in nature. So,
sure.
Eventually, I was in the California Conservation Corps, fighting forest fires here in California and stream clearance and many other projects. And then from there, I graduated from Cal State University Hayward with a park and recreation degree, became a naturalist right after that. And I was on my way after that. And then even went back and got a master's in science education degree. And now, all these things that I've learned, I'm able to pass on. So it's not that I'm into just cryptids. I'm into the nature of things. Cryptid animals just happen to be part of it. And every now and then I come across them. And, I've come across several actually. I'm in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Now, I work a triangle. You hear a lot about these triangles all over the world. There's the Alaskan Triangle. There's the Bermuda Triangle. Well, I work a triangle right here in California. So I work, one of my parks is the Marin Headlands, which is right next to the Pacific Ocean, right? So the Pacific Ocean at an angle going northeast is Quincy, which is in the Trans-Sierra Nevada mountains, and then all the way down to Yosemite National Park, back to the Marin Headlands. That's my triangle, right?
Wow, that's a lot of ground to cover. That sounds like a lot of ground to cover.
So so I teach about coastal woodlands, oak woodlands, coniferous parks, forests, everything that has to do with any kind of ecosystem, all the way in between. So oak woodlands, survival foods, everything. So that's where I'm at with that.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah. So have you seen, since you sort of started, have you seen a stark contrast to what it was to how it is now, with forests and forest fires and a devastation and animal loss? Has there been, in your opinion, a devastating loss?
Well, that's a really good question there, Phil, because I believe that we had a forest fire, major forest fire in Southern California, that COVID year. And I believe that this cryptid Dogman it was spotted actually in Southern California, in the Sierra Nevada mountains and Kings Canyon area. And that fire, that animal he moved all the way up north to where I was at. So he moved his territory from southern Sierra to the northern Sierra in the Tahoe National Forest. And that's and if you ever see a forest fire, don't go towards it. The animals are coming to you. They're trying to get away. So if you're going towards that fire, you're not only you're going to put your life in danger with the fire, you could have a bear coming right at you. Rattlesnakes could be right.
Yeah.
Everything is in a frantic mood.
Sure.
Even insects might attack you. Who even knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
So forest fires, they dislocate a lot of animals, and then it takes a little bit of time for the forest to regenerate, and eventually they'll go back, right? Things will go back and reclaim territory. But this Dogman I came across, right? We're at 6,500 foot elevation, so they're up higher elevation.
Okay. Right. When it was spotted, when the forest fire was happening, and you said that there was a Dogman spotted, was it obviously it was running away from the fire? Could you tell us a little bit about what you know about that? Because that's quite a recent moment. That's quite a recent thing.
Well, the Dogman itself is not a recent thing, as you know. I mean, we're talking about creatures that have been around for centuries, and we don't know a whole lot about the Dogman. But if you think about Dogman in an evolutionary term, well, the wolf was an animal that was hunting right alongside early man, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, early human beings that were hunting all these creatures, the mammoth. The wolves they're the smartest creatures of them all.
They are. Wolves are
In
very
my
smart.
opinion, I don't know, because all animals have their own intrinsic, way of being, and everything on the planet does.
Yeah, all animals are smart. They're all animals are they've adapted and are smart to their adaptation of their
Right.
immediate surroundings through evolution.
So
So
right there, you said a couple of key words. So at one point in time, we're talking maybe 100,000 years ago, there was a pack of wolves that said, "Hey, you know what? These guys are walking upright." They did it themselves, and then over, that evolutionary time, even now, you hold a little biscuit to a little dog, they go up in the air and go on 2 feet.
Yeah,
Duck is go on their hind legs for quite a while. So,
do you know, Steve? I
hey, this is working.
I
I'm
am
gonna
yeah. I am pleased. I'm pleased that I've got a chance to talk to you. Do you know why? I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you this question, and this is why I'm pleased I'm talking to you. Because if you don't know it, I don't know who else would. Right. So, you know, right with people know it as a AI generated Type 3 Dogman, which has got the archetypal long muzzle, pointy ears. Yeah, stands on bipedal, large triangular shaped, muscled body, large arms. It's stacked. It's a monster. It's a real predatory monster. It's kind of like a stuff of nightmares. My question to you as a naturalist is this: if that has been honed by evolution to acquire the attributes of the big teeth, the biting force of that jaw because it's so big, the claws, the long arms, the speed of it, the muscle structure, then what is its prey? Why in evolution did they create such a? It's not for bears, because bears wouldn't come close to it. Wouldn't come close to it. You get a brown bear, you get a black bear. Wouldn't even come close to such a 10, 12-foot thing as Dogman Type 3. So what in evolution has created that, and what would its prey be?
Well, check this out. That's another great question. The one that I saw was no taller than 6'6", I would say. He's leaning down a lot. The way that you just described it is exactly how it looks. Now it already had a wolf face. So there's a lot of people, oh, it's a dog man. You know what? to me it was Wolfman because it had a wolf face. Scared the bejesus out of me in the beginning, but like I'm telling you, as a naturalist, right? You take in whatever animal, take in whatever thing is there. So when I'm looking at this thing running around the camp, I'm going, man, whoa, I got quite an assignment this time. The creator gave me quite an assignment. I'm here in the tail end of my career, and here I am, come face to face with what they call a Dogman. Dang, not good. And this son of a gun, right, man? It's prey. By the way, since you were talking about prey, is that any animal that it could get that's smaller. So it was definitely tracking down the deer, and even the bears were scared of it, because when I got into camp, right, as the naturalist, right, okay, like I said, the whole COVID year we were shut down. So when I got back to camp, I'm all as happy as could be. I'm the guy that has to go out and look around and make sure, okay, the mountain lions have been here, the pack of coyotes have been here, the bears have been here, the all the normal animals that I normally see, I go check them out, right?
Yeah.
So I get here, and you give me the heebie-jeebies. When I first got into camp, I knew right away. I mean, right away, something was wrong. It was an ominous feeling, a grayness in a spring day. It was like, ooh, and I knew right away. I go, something's not right. Something is not right here. And sure enough, there was not other than chipmunks and squirrels that can actually outmaneuver and run this thing. There was no deer, and like I said, it scared away the bears. I didn't even see another coyote. I didn't see a coyote track. All the animals were gone, except for the smaller ones that it couldn't get. So its prey was just what they've been eating forever. They've been eating deer. So deer's a good meal.
No, deer would be a good meal.
You know what? This thing could tackle a small bear easy. There ain't no easy. It would a young bear would not stand a chance.
Yeah, I was saying, Steve, only from the point of view of an animal will adapt through time its body dependent on the environment and its prey. So a cheetah, it wouldn't do any good if it weighed the size. If it was the size of a pig, it wouldn't survive in a savanna, because it needs that leanness, it needs that speed, it needs that that fast twitch muscle group that a cheetah has to be able to boom straight away for a short period of time, but nearly 70 miles an hour, boom, it's gone. So it's honed that.
Check this out. So you're on something right here. Like this animal has specially designed feet. He's got a humanoid foot. He's got claws, the canine foot pads and everything, nails in the front, and then its foot, the heel tapers inward. Ours goes in like in a one direction. This one hooks inward, and that's a special adaptation for rock climbing, clinging on rocks, and also walking right in the middle of This thing could step right on pine cones and flatten them like pancakes because he put so much weight on its foot. Whack! Right. And when it runs, its prey knows it right away, because man, it's going whoa. Because this son of a gun, when it wants to go for its prey, I call it thunder steps. Boom, 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 boom. Son of a gun, you could hear them. And you know what? It's like, I got to get out of here. And you know what? You better back out. He'll warn you. It'll warn you. It doesn't really, I'm alive. It warned me.
Yeah.
I have total respect for all animals. I mean, I didn't go out there, you know, like a cryptid investigator. Okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm looking straight for this Dogman creature. No. I don't, whatever, like I said, whatever's there is there. So when this thing was in my camp, I'm the head naturalist. So, and another thing, I don't back down from nothing.
Okay.
I just forget it, man. If this was an assignment that was given to me, I'm going, wow. Earlier you and I were talking about, how it sounds, the growl.
Yeah.
And, the very first night that I came across this thing, because check this out. I have a cabin in camp. Cabin number 1 is mine.
Okay.
But check this out. I have a tent just outside of camp, right? And so I have 2 things because I'm dealing with 15 kids and 3 chaperones, right? So I'm hiking them all day, and then I gotta unwind myself. So if I'm in camp, I'm hearing kids and everything going on bothers me. So I got to go to my camp, to my tent, which is on the outskirts of camp. I got done teaching my kids. I go into my camp, and then I could decompress. And my camp director knows, hey, this guy, he likes to drink beer. So, I just got done with all these kids. I'm going to relax, and I just crack open a beer, and I'm relaxing in my tent. But right outside of me, that tent is called the Desolation Wilderness. And it's just a vast wilderness in the Sierra Nevada mountains that stretches. There isn't an electrical, it's a wilderness designated. You can't even have dogs in there. And a lot of action in there. There's a lot of things there. And that's where this thing, there's a lot of caves in there. It's a volcanic area. There's all kinds of plugs, and there's all kinds of, caves and massive cave systems, and Sierra Nevada mountains. It goes pretty wide. We're lucky. We want to keep it that way. Wilderness forever. That's my point of view.
Do you, Steve? Do you find that the balancing your natural the natural sciences part of your career with the more arcane part, which is the cryptid part, do you find that you have a happy balance, or have you found that the cryptid side of things has taken over?
That is another great question, friend. What's happening now is that I'm actually getting back in the field. So I started my own YouTube channel. And
okay, what's it called, Steve?
It's called Untamed Science Now.
Okay. What I'll do for people watching, I'll put all the links for Steve's YouTube channel, and if he has any other information, I'll put all the links in the description. So as soon as it's finished, just have a little look in the description. You'll find all the links for that.
Yeah. So like I was telling you, after this happened, I had to take a couple of years off because I just couldn't work. I had post-traumatic stress disorder. When you come as close to as I did to this thing and it almost bit your face off, it has a little bit of a thing on it. And my situation is different than others. Like I was telling you, I was the head naturalist, and I was trying to figure out, okay, I got 2 weeks to get this creature out of my camp because I got clientele coming in. So I was going, man, if my presence here, maybe it'll leave, right? But it had already staked out territory. It had marked areas. And it saw me as it was curious at me, and it showed itself many times. But I very well could not be talking to you right here, right now. So, like I was telling you, the very first night that I came across this thing, I was all happy to be camping out. I was camped out my first night in my tent. And it was 34 degrees that night. But, I love camping outside. And I have a pot and pan right there. You hear bears or coyotes come around, they take off. This thing, I'm at 3:00 in the morning, and the very first step, I knew I'm in trouble. And this thing is not a Sasquatch. It's something different, and it's bipedal. And I knew right out I go, shit, it's a Dogman, son of a. Oh, it came right to my tent, man. And, we're talking about, okay, the snap of its jaws was, the thing that I could equivalent it to from what I've heard is as strong as an alligator. Whack, whack, whack. Fucking did that to me right outside my tent, looking right at me. I'm looking right at it. Now, I also sleep with a big 12-inch knife behind my pillow here. I got a spear to my right side, and I have another knife to my left, just in case my little ding doesn't work. But man, I'm not moving. I'm looking at this thing straight at me. And it went like this, cracked its neck. I'm going, holy shit. Man, and I didn't know whether to grab my knife and say, okay, man, we're going to go down. Me and you are going to, both of us are going to die tonight. Whew. Luckily, I played possum, just looking right at it. And he was just going, and he got tired. He went, ooh, coo. He went back exact same way that he came in. Now, check this out. Here's the big thing. The son of a gun steps on his own footprints. Zoom, zoom.
No way. Seriously?
You know what? He doesn't alter, and he goes right behind tree lines, and it's the only way to track him. And then in the Sierra Nevada mountains, when you get up there, you're hitting boulders, right?
Yeah, right.
Unless you got great hiking boots, you ain't gonna get near this guy, because, like I was telling you, he's got those heels, so he could look up at a cliff, look at you, he'd go right in a cave, and he's gone. If that's just the reality of how strong it is, man. And because he has thumbs like us, he's easy to grab and move up.
Yeah.
And,
so you're quite confident, Steve, that they are good climbers. You know that they're quite good climbers. They're good climbers.
We're no match to climb. They're incredible climbers.
Yeah,
incredible, and they could go almost vertical.
Yeah.
They like I said, their feet are designed to grip that. They're grippers. And you know what? He leans forward. Very determined footsteps and very strong animal. So as a naturalist, check this out. I'm going, wow, that is like one of the most excellent creatures I've ever seen. I'm going, yay!
Yeah.
On the other side, man, I'm like, holy schmolies! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! What am I gonna do? Am I gonna leave? Well, no. So that's why I stood. Check this out. I had a 10-day ordeal with this guy.
What, 10 days?
Before he kicked me out of check this out. The only reason why he ran me out of my camp is because on the 8th day, I went and got one of my friends from my hometown, some other guy that I know that is tough hombre like me. And he saw, hey, I called him up. I need help, man. I got some cryptid creature right here. And I need to get cameras out here. I need somebody to watch my back as I lay some plaster cast tracks on this thing. He's here. And he ain't leaving here. And he's told me he ain't leaving. I'm leaving.
Okay.
So I brought my friend over, and that's what happened. That's how I got these, so the photographs that I have, the cameras are only up for 24-hour period. And it came out 75 times on my camera, and You know,
I'm
and
gonna.
I positioned the camera in certain ways because right after right after he visited me in my tent right there in the desolation wilderness, I wasn't sleeping outside anymore. I went inside. I was in my cabin after that.
Mm, I'm gonna bring up oh, hang on, sorry, let's have a look. Sorry
Oh,
about that. I was going to bring up a picture.
it was all right.
Right, let's have a look. Uh, yeah. So this is a typical. Um, can you explain what these? Just so the people, because a lot of people watching this, Steve, they
Yeah.
wouldn't have seen a footprint. They would
Uh,
not have seen a footprint of Dogman, or if they have, they misidentify it. Is
well,
this a Dogman print? What are we looking
okay.
at?
Okay. Check this out. You have 3 tracks right here from 3 different animals. That's why I have it. The top one right there is a human in mud. So that's a mud
Mhm.
surface, right?
Yeah.
And when a a 6-foot human just standing in mud right there is going to leave a nice. That's the one on the top with the toes. That's what tells us that we're humans, that we got these toes, and then we got that heel that goes straight down, right? So
Hmm.
that's a really simple mud footprint of a human. The one in the middle right there, well, that is a very large black bear. That's a black bear print in mud. So check this out. I have, when you're in the Sierra Nevada mountains and you're tracking
Mm.
on the west side, you have slate and shale. So when those get weathered, they create great mud. And the
Okay.
bears around on that side of the mountain, they leave excellent, big, gigantic tracks. We humans
Mm.
can't do this.
They're,
However,
an interesting bear track, isn't it? Because it's more like a big pad. It kind of,
it's huge. Look at that heel
mm,
on that.
yeah,
And then, it's wide for one thing, almost boot like. But even in this track, if we were to look at it closer, there's little animals following it. There's a squirrel and there's chipmunks that follow bears, little voles and mice, because the bears are really sloppy eaters, right?
yeah.
And
Mm.
they'll drop food for the other animals. So there's a food chain following that bear. Now the one
Okay.
on the bottom right there, that's a Dogman track. And like I was telling you about the hooked heel, it
Yeah.
shows it right here pretty good. And then this is a step down. So the claws are parent. Instead of this guy having toes, he's got claws. And that particular track is casted on the east side of the Sierra Nevada mountains. And right here, this is all igneous rock right here. And here's this one track right here. This grip on this animal on the earth is just unbelievable and incredible. As a matter of fact, I call this track the holy grail of tracks. When this was right outside my tent that first night, when after he pounded through, I got out of my tent in the morning, 6 o'clock. I'm looking around. I started tracking this guy. I'm like, where'd he go? Where'd he go? And I saw this track. I'm like, oh.
Mm.
And I'm going, no way in the world am I leaving here. Even if I get my head ripped off by this thing, these are the tracks I'm looking for.
Okay.
And this grip on the ground right here, like if you and I were to do this in that habitat, in that ground, in that geological setting, we'd break every toe in our body and our toes. Our toenails would rip off. This
Mm.
guy, he goes right for it. There's a top view of that same track. It gives you a
Okay.
better angle of that hook heel. It's 9 inches long, a couple of
Yeah.
inches wide in between with that hooked heel. It's
Okay.
to,
People.
to put so
So,
much pressure on the earth like that, and from what I've seen, 6'5", 285-pound massive muscle.
mm. So I have to ask because people at home will be asking this. Looking at that, so uh, those on the left-hand side, those knobs, if you like, those nodules standing up, those are its toes.
Those are his claws.
It's claws, right?
Those are its nails. Like I told
Uh,
you, it doesn't have human toes. It has canine claws. So
yeah, sure.
that's its
Okay.
claw gripping into the earth right there.
Okay.
And as a tracker, when I first looked at that, I was going, "Oh wow, that is one extraordinary track."
It is. It is for people at home. That is incredible size. I mean that footprint is a incredible size. That's got to be. I would say that's got to be in a region of about 14-inch long.
No, I got to tell you, he's got a smaller foot. He got a 9.5 inch foot.
It looks
So he's
big
got a
there.
smaller foot, but
Mm,
he's got a lot of strong. Like here's that step down, and there's that
mm,
claw mark right there. It's just
yeah. Yeah.
just one of my favorite tracks of all time.
That is a that is I like that one. That is a good one. I've just people at home are going to say, why is it bent like that? Why is it at an angle? Can you
he's
explain to them why?
he's stepping down. He's
Okay.
actually on a boulder on his heel. His heel went slipping down, and then when he went downward, he gripped. He bent his foot so deep.
Mm,
That's he went that deep in the earth.
okay.
That's how I was able to look at it. If you're a tracker, okay, look at.
100%. I
I
agree
look
with
for
you.
stuff like this, right? So when I'm looking at his track well indented like that, I could already see that he had his claws deep in the earth, and I was just looking at this track going,
Mm. It
I
is an impressive
I got to
track.
plaster cast this track, but then man, there was others, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah. No,
if you
you've
go,
got.
this is all right around my cabin now.
Mm,
In that last picture you saw my cabin. We're right
mm.
deep in my camp right now.
I just want to show people at home. You sent me a small video. This gives people at home an idea, okay, about Steve's work and the time and dedication he puts in to actually, because it's no mean feat. Yeah, it's bad enough when I'm out in the woods and you're an hour and a half in, and you're kind of hot, you're sticky, you got the weight of the backpack, and you're carrying around plaster of Paris and water as well. So it's not. These we don't do it for the love of it as such. We do it, because there's something which we have to. So I take my hat off to Steve for doing it. I just want to show you this video. This is the quantity of stuff he's bringing up with. Just look at that.
Now all of these tracks, right? They're
Mm,
all a little bit different, but all of them have something similar. And the reason for that is because the environment there is we're talking about the spring thaw. We're talking
hmm
about boulders. We're talking about a forest that's up 6,500 foot to 12,000 foot.
mm.
So it's not like they're in one spot and they're not rubber stamps. You actually need to go into the forest to find them. Like I said,
Sure.
he hikes around the
It's
tree lines.
yeah.
So you go in there, and I'll tell you,
It's like
there.
I tell you, you're right, Steve. It's like forensic scientists, if they go into a scene where there's been a crime in the woods, they have to take into consideration, was it raining the night before? Was there a lot of deadfall, lying around? They need to take into consideration also, even if they look for tire tracks, they have to take in consideration, was the tank in the truck, was it full? Was it empty? The displacement of air inside the tire, because all of these contributing factors, when you look at that video for the tracks that Steve's got, they're contributing factors of the environment which make that. That's why they're different.
Well, check this out. Not only that, the creature's territorial, so
Mm,
he's going to and fro. So some of these tracks are twofold. He's going this way and that way at one time, and
yeah.
he's patrolling you know, and on several of these tracks. And that's one of the reasons why, like right now, I'm trying to get them laser scanned and X-rayed, forensically checked out, and other scientists, naturalists such as myself.
Mm.
I'd be more than happy to share them with anybody. I'd even love to come to Great Britain and show them to you, and
Yeah.
maybe laser
Yeah.
print them there. Because you know what, I've offered this to so many cryptozoologists here in the United States, and
Mm.
not a single one of them. I shouldn't say single one. A couple of them have shown interest, but none of them have come forward to say, "Hey, man, I want to really take a look at these."
Mm.
And I'm going, "Hey, you know, why not?" Because it's a
Yeah.
big club over here. There's
Yeah.
been the same
Yeah.
old dudes doing this and that. And, oh, I'm going on. But you know what? Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm a naturalist. I don't want to be famous. I never wanted to be in the limelight. I loved
No.
my naturalist life up in the
Yeah.
mountains. I love, that's the easiest,
It,
just to me, just getting up in the morning, crisp morning,
mm.
having a cup of coffee and
Yeah. I
taking,
suppose
just
it's. I suppose you know what, Steve. I suppose sort of with yourself, like a lot of people, we don't just wake up in the morning and think, out of the blue, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out and see if I can grab myself a bipedal, wolf-looking uh, monster. That's
don't
what I'm
look
going to
for them.
do. You
Don't look
don't.
for
You
them.
don't. It just happens. It just happens, and obviously it happened with you that time. And it's
Well,
just.
one thing that I do a lot, I'm gonna tell you a secret, right? I'm 64-year-old dude already, and
Mm,
one thing that I always do when I go out hiking by myself, when you're with a group of people, they're making so much noise that all the animals are running away. But
yeah.
when I go by myself and I'm feeling a little this and that, I play a musical instrument called a clapstick. Bam, bam, bam. Lets the
Yeah.
animals know I'm in their territory. And
Mm,
I also carry around a harmonica. So when I'm laying down plaster, I'll do this periodically so the creatures know that I'm there, and they kind of more or less are curious, or they'll stay away from me.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
luckily, it's been working for me all these years, and to this
Well,
day, like I said, I couldn't get out for a couple of years after this. I was
yeah.
just totally
Yeah.
messed up, but over the last couple of years, picked myself up, and now, like I said, I'm returning back to my
Mm,
science teachings and going out there in nature. And like I
yeah.
said, I'm not particularly looking for Sasquatch or Dogman, but
Mm.
they're there, and I've seen them.
Your native tribe that you come from, what do they say about when you go? Have you because a lot of I know a lot of Cree, and Blackfoot, they do believe that there is like a dogman. A lot of them they don't talk about a certain creature. They don't or won't talk about it because they believe if you talk about it, it will come. Um, have you spoken to your people about this?
What there's certain aspects of this I won't talk about,
Hmm.
and you know, as a scientist, I look at the scientific aspect component
Mm.
of this, because the next thing is to get them laser scanned and x-rayed. That's what has to happen to these tracks. So as a
Mm.
scientist, I keep going on that end. But you know
Okay.
what? There's
Mm.
spiritual things out there that are connotations that we don't talk about, that don't,
Mm.
okay,
Yeah.
it's out there. We know it's out there.
Yeah.
And
No, I just wanted to, you
I,
know, um, and Oki, by the way.
yeah,
Um, I've got another bit of picture that you sent in. Could you, this one is, hang on, I'll get it up. Sorry. Um, where were you when you saw this?
okay, now check this out. Like I was telling you, after the first night, I was in my cabin.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, what you're not looking at is just like 12 feet away is my cabin door. Now,
Okay.
my camera is positioned right here for a reason, because I had seen this creature running around the back. Look how close it is. He's running around the forest over here. And then my cabin's right there. He had approached me already, and he wasn't letting me sleep. This is day 9. So, even though I was in my cabin, he was running around the woods like this. And every now and then he would come to my door and scratch the door, scratch the walls. He would snap his jaws, but he has the weirdest voice, the vocalization. He sounds like Scooby-Doo when we all mad. It's a shock, man. And I'm in my cabin. I'm packing at this point in time. I got my knives, spears, hatchets, everything really close by. I got underneath the door. I put I got a crutch on the doorknob. I got sticks that are holding up the bottom of the door. I'm figuring out how I'm going to escape if this sucker comes in. It was a really hard time. I didn't sleep more than 3 hours a night.
Do you know, it's strange you saying about that Scooby-Doo shout. That's the most, no one else has mentioned Scooby-Doo, the way Scooby-Doo used to sound, Shaggy. But that is exactly what I've heard. I've heard that same type of thing. I've heard that. And that's that no one else has mentioned a Scooby-Doo. And it's exactly, yeah. That's 100%.
They'll let you know. They'll let you know. Hey, get the heck out of my
Yeah.
What are you doing
here? Oh, Shaggy. Yeah.
And I'm going, sorry,
crazy.
The head naturalist.
Yeah.
But crazy. Like I said, I actually had to leave camp because I had my friend that was there, and after 2 days of this thing running around, I had to get him out because he had, and then I was, it's a long story after that, but man.
Okay, I'm going to bring up another photo. It's a bit closer, this one. Hang on, boom. Here we go.
Well, yeah, right. This one right here. Okay, this is a zoomed in photo from a picture. Like I said, he was always he was hanging around the trees 40, 50 yards away from my cab. There he is again. He's running. Here is it at 3:35. Another time he's in another photo running at 1:25, 1:01 or something. And here I am I'm just barely setting up this camera, putting on my backpack, and look at, here's another time. So I was moving the camera around here and there, and you know what? Every time I moved it, he was around, and this is one of those times that he moved to the left and triggered the camera. So even though it's a little bit, pixelated and it's far away, in the original photograph, it's there. I just zoomed this in and circled it. But this one gives you a good example of just how tall he is, for one thing. It's not a tree stump.
No, exactly. That you can see the outline. You can see.
Yeah, there's other photographs. You see.
Yeah, down the bottom there, Steve. Look, you can just see the leg. Make out the leg there. You can quite, it's quite
his
definitive.
His left arm came out. He popped out. Camera got him, and then he went out somewhere else. There's a photograph before this one that I don't know if I sent it to you. He's actually looking at the camera. So he looked, went behind the tree, and then stepped over. So there's actually 2 photographs in succession.
Okay. Well, what I'll do, I'm going to
actually, there's just so many. I only sent you a few that I thought, he's always in the background, but it's there.
What I'm going to do, Steve, I'm going to bring those up. Right. I brought up some more photos as well, Steve. Some of them are really, really intriguing. Absolutely intriguing. I'm just going to have a little look at one more here. This one.
Look at this was at 1:05, man, right in the afternoon. And to the left there, you could see one of the cabins.
Mm-hmm.
What you can't see is just over to the right is my cabin. Now the forest is
Okay.
right behind, and this guy had a trail going right into the woods in there, right to my cabin.
Okay.
And that's why I wish I would have put it lower, but I wasn't, this is my first time putting up a trail camera. I didn't know whether, and then the tree that was right there, you know, I just wish
Mm.
it was just a little bit lower, but we were able to get his upper body as he poked his head out behind there.
Have you got trail cameras all around your cabin? Is it kind of like, so got about 3 or 4, I suppose?
I
2.
just had two.
Okay.
I had two.
Right.
I went to a bass trail, the bass outlet, picked up a couple cameras along with my buddy, went over there, put these up, and he was around looking.
See, this is I find interesting because what made you take that photograph? What
Like I
was
was
it? Just
telling you, I had seen that guy running around back there in the woods. So the
right? Got
camera is
you.
positioned right there. This is me right
This
here.
is this is on the same day. This is the same day. I'm sorry, I
Yes.
didn't understand. I got you. Right. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
time
Sure.
every time I would come to the camera and check it out, that guy's behind me somewhere. He's looking in. He's looking, checking me out. He
Yeah.
didn't want to
Yeah.
leave the territory. He wound up
Mm,
leaving. I'm not the only one that's seen him, by the way. There was other people that
no.
saw it, but they're not gonna. They didn't track it. They don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you when you're tracking the Dogman, do you ever come across any smells? Any like kind of like a lot of Bigfooters out there go, oh yeah, I was walking out, and then all of a sudden they get hit with this wall of stench. Do you ever
Well,
find that?
well, check this out. Sasquatch has a really smelly smell. Stinks. It's like a combination of feces and rotten flesh with other things,
Hmm.
and it leaves residue. So when almost musk,
Okay.
you're gonna go. You get that smell, get out of there because you don't want to be there.
Mm.
And because they got that smell. Now the dog man, he has a different smell because he got, like I said, it got into the women's bathroom. And I believe this dog man was a male, right? Because he got into the women's bathroom, and women have a different smell than we men do. And boy, that guy had a field day in that bathroom. And I went in there, I was going, "Pooh, holy Toledo, man! This is urine and dog pelt rolls into whatever the women smell, man." He was rolling all over the place. He humped the stalls. I, 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 I had to clean. I put pine sol on there 3 times, and it didn't get the smell out. Did not get the smell out. I had to
So
laugh.
potent,
I had to laugh.
potent.
I was like, "Wow, man!" They got in room number 6 too. Did the same thing. Pissed all over in that room. Left hand marks all over it. It was pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah,
So
it is. I mean,
you can smell. He's. 'Cause I used to work in a nature park way back earlier in my career called Sulphur Creek Nature Center in Hayward, and part of my repertoire things to do during the day was to feed the coyotes, right? And
mhm.
I'd wet the coyotes, in a hot day, and they'd be taking a leak all over the bushes and then rolling all over it. Had a certain
Yeah.
smell to it, right? Same
Yeah.
smell. Right? It's unmistakable smell, and you you're going, that's canine all the way. And
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's it. Yeah, because a lot of canines do that because it's a way of masking their own smell, isn't it?
well, that's also a way for them to mark their territory.
Hmm.
And so they'll urinate and roll in it and let others know that, hey, this is my spot, right? But
Mm.
you know, in that instance, the overwhelming aroma of female feminism in that bathroom, he's just like that, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then went off
Yeah.
on his way. He tried to get other other cabins. They were all locked, so I
Mm.
don't even know how he got into 6 or the bathroom, but he did.
Did anyone? I know it's a long shot, but do you know of anyone that witnessed that? You know, or was there
Well,
anyone
you know
else?
what? Interesting. Check this out. I was not alone. I had a
Ah,
gentleman that was working for me. Now I'm the head naturalist, right?
yeah.
Now I get there along with this gentleman. I was working with this gentleman for 7 years prior to this. He keeps hiring me as his naturalist, right? Because I know my stuff, man, and I train all the naturalists. So he keeps bringing me back, and you know what? He he freaked out when that first night that this son of a gun came to my tent. I brought him over. I'm all, hey man, check this out. I got attacked last night by a fucking werewolf. And I showed him the tracks, and he was going, "You can't tell anybody this. It's gonna leave. You gotta, you know, you know." And I was going, "Dude, I'm not gonna tell anybody about this because I need to get it out of here myself." I go, I need my job, man." So I was going, I gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
guy, he's the executive director of the camp. I'm not gonna mention his name because he barricade himself in his room in the 18 in the A-frame every night. Well, after work, I get up
Yeah.
at 7 because I still had to set up camp because he and I are there to set the camp up. 2 weeks we got to set up camp.
Well,
So I'm fixing bathrooms. I'm putting up tents. I'm cleaning
yeah.
cabins, getting everything ready, and I'm going every morning. I'm going, holy moly, son of a
Yeah.
gun is out here. At this time, I'm packing, man. I got my machete, I got my knives, I got my spears, and I got my cleaning things at the same time, right? So I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going, I'm going from witnessing all kinds of stuff, hearing things from a distance, and going, man, you gotta leave, you gotta leave. And then this guy, I'll say, I'll call him Mr. Fleas, Parasite. Anyway, Mr. Fleas, I'm all, hey, I told him, check this out. On the 5th day,
Mm.
I'm all, John, you and I have got to go together to force this guy out of here. And he was going, no way. And I'm going, I went by myself, man.
What?
I went by myself. 8 days in the wilderness, like that last picture you seen where he's right by my camp, that interesting one that you saw. You said, this is an intriguing picture. I went back there, man. I go,
That
okay,
this one?
yeah. His trail is directly boom. So I went back there by myself.
Damn.
I go, I'm gonna go find you, man.
Brave man.
I don't know, it's pretty stupid. Anyway, you know, whew,
yeah.
you
Yeah, some perhaps I suppose, yeah, and there is that, but yeah. But
followed him to his cave system.
cave system.
There's no way in
There
the
must
world.
be. There must be. Them. A lot of people do believe that. A lot of people do say that they kind of that's where they go. That's why they disappear. They disappear underground in cave systems. Do you think that's the case?
Like I said, we're in a volcanic range. So there's caves everywhere. This guy, he could go in one and pop out in another one. We were
Mm.
you I'm not, hey, I'm not going tracking him. I ain't doing that. I ain't even
You're
going
not
in
going
there,
down.
man.
You're doing a bit of caving now.
But I did find out where he was going in. And
Right.
yeah. He didn't uh, I don't know, man. I Maybe I would do it again. I have no idea because I don't even know. Probably not.
It's a bug. I find it a bit of a bug. Once you're bitten, but it's almost like they choose us. They don't show themselves to everyone. They choose certain people. They tag certain people, and I think after they've tagged you and you've witnessed what we witnessed, you can't help. You can't leave it alone. You can't just like go on hold, leave it alone. You can't. It's just something which just. Do you find that?
Well,
It's not.
I just miss the mountains,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was home to me. So to be away from it, and then at that one point juncture now that I'm back in action again, I'm well, all right, man. Let's get back out there. Let's
Yeah. I think it's time.
go do it, because there's still discoveries to be made. We like
Mm.
we're talking about this creature, the Dogman. The Sasquatch has been spotted there also, and there are a few other cryptids that don't even have names that I have seen there that defy. They're unbelievable. It's just I can't. I would describe it to you, and then you would really call me a bullshitter. No way. However, I keep saying, dude, that's just what I do. I go out there, I make discoveries, I see
Mm.
things,
Yeah.
I see things other people don't.
Do you know,
And
I'm one of these people that um everything I know, I've learned one thing, and that one thing is humility from the point of view of nobody's right, nobody's wrong in this. We just experience, and you have to respect people's experiences. You have to, because it's personal to them. And I'm no one to stand in judgment and say, "Oh, no, that's a load of old crap, man. That's a load. No, you're talking rubbish. No, 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 that ain't real. What are you talking about?" I'm no one to sit in judgment about that. Um,
yeah,
and we have to really respect that there is something out there that people are seeing. That people don't do this kind of thing and come forward and risk their reputation. You know, on what? Nothing. So that has to be respected. And I've got a lot of respect for you, Steve. I really have for coming on the
thank you.
show and telling it how it is.
Right on. Well, I totally appreciate being here, like I said, and
And
yeah,
what I'll
you know what? It's not just here in the United States. This is a worldwide phenomenon. There's
mm,
things that are popping up everywhere, and from my understanding, since this time happened, and people have been talking to me, and I've been learning a lot of things, and they're I believe a lot of the stuff that people are telling me.
mm,
I've been a believer since 1968 when my dad took me to see the Patterson Gimlin film on the big screen. That was my
yeah.
introduction to cryptozoology right there. I'm an 8-year-old boy, and I'm looking at Bigfoot on the screen, and I'm up on my chair because I can't believe I'm looking at such a thing. But ever since then, right? I go in, I
Yeah,
go into the Sierra, go in Yosemite, heightened awareness, man. Even as a little kid, I want to see one. I want to see one, right?
yeah, yeah,
So anyway, be careful what you ask for because once you see one, I saw Bigfoot. Everybody's gonna put their hand on your head and push you away. But
yeah.
you know what?
Mm.
I have to laugh at all these people who are skeptics because you know what? Show me the costume makers. If I was a costume maker, I would be bragging about look at this Sasquatch, costume
Yeah,
I made. It's over 8 feet tall. I had to find the biggest. I had to get Shaquille O'Neal to get in there and walk around in it. Right?
yeah, right.
There's
Yeah.
little ones. There's medium ones. Their families, dude. They've got
Mm,
migration routes.
mm,
They
yeah.
they interlude. There's Dogman, Sasquatch. They they don't
Mm.
like they don't like they stay on the fringes of each other. They don't.
I was going to ask that. That's one thing I was going to ask you. Yeah, how do you think how do, in your interpretation, how do you think that they don't get on? Do you reckon?
Sasquatch, boom, they just got miles to go. So they're out of territories really quick because they got
Mm.
massive carrying capacity and mileage to go.
Mm.
The Dogman, they're territorial. High, wilderness, stay away from people. They like it like that. And they've seen what we humans can do, right?
Right.
We're killers, man.
Oh yeah.
So I hate to put us like that. I mean, I know that we're both so peaceful, but
Mm.
there's they have legends.
Yeah.
Sasquatch have their own culture.
Yeah.
Dogman have their own culture. They've seen us humans from a distance and up close.
Mm.
Whoa,
Yeah.
and who could blame them? Going, wow, I don't know if man, these creatures are really stranger than us. Because
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
then check this out. I don't know, what it's like in Great Britain right now, but there's a lot of people that are going missing in the Sierra Nevada mountains and elsewhere.
Yeah. Do you know? I've got a friend of mine who's in Colorado at the moment, and just recently, it was only February 14th, I think it was. This person, I won't be too specific, this person was found, and they suffered bites and attack marks. And the wildlife, game of wildlife, still can't uh, ascertain what attacked her, what creature it was. They still can't figure it out, as far as I know. And it was in the Colorado, the up in the mountains there. I don't know if you heard about that case. If you look on my bio,
Well, since this has happened, I've been checking out things more and more. Like earlier, we said, did this take over my life and everything? To a certain extent, it did, but I'm back in it, so I could spend more time in nature
yeah,
doing my thing out there.
yeah, sure.
Um,
Steve, would it be okay, I'm going to wrap it up now. Was you okay if I was to offer, for you to come on again to talk a bit more about your findings out there and your theories as well, because we haven't really mentioned about some of your more deeper theories. Would that be something you'd be willing to do? Come on again?
you know what, Phil? I would love to come on again.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I've been checking. Since we got in touch. Um,
Yeah,
I'm all, who
yeah.
is Phil? And I've been, what? You're a good man. You're a good man. And you're doing good stuff. I'd be more than
Thank
happy
you.
to come on. And like I said, even sometime I would even love to go back
Thank
to
you. I appreciate that.
the
And
John Dagden. We'll
sorry?
have some tea.
Yeah.
Should be good.
And your YouTube channel again is, if you could mention it,
I'm Untamed Science Now. Uh,
Untamed Science Now.
and,
So
and
if
my name
everyone,
and my name's Stephen Barrios, but I also go by Noxion, which is my Native
okay,
American name.
Stephen Beers, and it's
But
Untamed Science.
uh,
Now, I'm going to put the links. Steve's going to send me the links. I'm going to put those to the YouTube site on the description. And I just want to thank you very much for your time and your sincerity. And you're just a really nice guy. I really appreciate. I feel honored that I met you.
oh
Thank
man,
you.
honor's all mine. And thank you all in Great Britain and elsewhere. Take care of your families. And I always say when I'm leaving, oh, so peace, love, and soul.
Thank you, man. Take care. Okay. I just want to say, Steve, really lovely bloke. He sent up all of the photos and the video so that we could have a look at that. Um, really kind of him. He's an open book. From where I sit, he's an open book, and I like those researchers. Those type of researchers I like, who just like kind of, they don't fluff things up. They just bring it, open it up, and show it. And I think all credibility to him. Steve's a wonderful guy, and as I say, I'll leave all the links in below, and check out his casts. His cast footprints are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, please check those out, and yeah, appreciate your time for coming on and watching this, and I know Steve does as well. And yeah, I should say till we meet again, take care.